Hi everyone! In this video, I'll be showing you how to propagate your aglaonemas, and this same technique can be applied across all aglaonema varieties. What we have here is the Aglaonema Red Impressa. These plants are actually quite easy to propagate. So if you look at the stems here, if you fill it up all the way with soil up to the top here, with soil, what will happen is the stem area that's exposed to soil, it will actually promote root growth, and weeks later when you remove the soil, you'll be able to see actually roots have grown from this plant. And with this knowledge, it will help you in propagating your plant. When you're doing your cutting, make sure you cut between the growth nodes, such as these horizontal lines that you can see here. Just cut between the center and you're good to go. So here we go. Just cut it. Cut it here. So that's one cutting. So for this next cutting, you can see that it has already some physical roots. I'll just cut it right here. There we go. Okay, so for the main plant that we cut from, I know that we are able to grow them straight from the stem without any leaves, but that will take a very long time. So I will prefer to leave one leaf on each stem so that they can actually grow faster. Yeah, but bear in mind that if you cut away all the leaves, they will still be able to grow out new leaves from the eye. So where's the eye in the aglaonema? If you look here, okay, these are the aglaonema's eyes. Yeah, so that's where new leaf might most likely sprout out from. Okay, so here I have with me two cuttings. I'll be sticking one of it in pumice and the other one in soil. Let's go. So for the first cutting, I'll be sticking it in soil. It is my own mix. So what we have here is cocoa peat, worm castings, pumice, and a little bit of coconut chips. So for aglaonemas, they do like the soil to be a little bit wet with a bit of water retention, but allow the soil to completely dry out before watering them again. If not, it will lead to yellowing of leaves and root rot. Okay, so just gonna make a hole, and then we're gonna stick the cutting in. Okay, once that's done, let's give it a bit of moisture, some water. So when watering your plant, do make sure that you water all the way till you actually see water drip out from the bottom of the pot. In that way, you know that you have watered your plant evenly all the way through, and that water is not just stuck on the surface. Yeah, so you can see water is actually dripping out. So here we have it, the first one, propagation using soil. So for the second cutting, I will be propagating them using pumice. As I live in the tropics, preferable method is to not just let this plant grow in water, because aglaonemas can just grow in water, but from where I live, if I do that over a long period of time, it will lead to the breeding of mosquitoes. So to manage that, I just use pumice. The first thing we need to do is to just measure the depth of how much pumice we need. So in this case, probably maybe 1/4 or 1/3 depth of pumice would be sufficient. So once you have your depth, just simply put your plant in and just give it a bit of support, make sure it stays in the center, and you can actually just fill it out with pumice. It's really simple. Just gonna just push it down to give it a bit of firmness so that it will stick in the center. Yeah, that's it, done. And of course, remember to water your plant. There we go. Alright, last but not least, we have the mother plant. So I have not done anything to the soil. I actually got this plant only like a few days back. It wasn't doing very well. So what you saw earlier was all the dying leaves have been actually already removed. So let's just look at their roots. Wow. Okay, as you can see, they have really decent root growth, and this is a good sign that this plant will be really healthy and it has the potential to be bushy. So with more roots, this plant can actually support more leaves. And the soil is a bit dry now, so it's definitely time to give this plant a bit of watering. Okay, so let's just pot it up. So the mix that I'm using, the soil mix I'm mixing is the same as the first cutting. Okay, oh yeah, I forgot to mention also that this plant, it's really okay for it to be root bound because this plant actually takes a lot of time to grow roots like this. Yeah, so I'm just gonna use the same pot. Okay, I'm just gonna fill the sides with soil. Just give it a bit of shuffle in the soil. Squeeze it all in. Just going to cover any exposed roots. Okay, I think I'm very happy with this. Just going to give it a bit of water. Yeah, and that's it. Let's see how the mother plant do. And there you have it, guys. My cuttings for the Aglaonema. Stay tuned for the next update. Alright, here's your 2 weeks update, and let's check out the cuttings. Here we have the mother plant. Okay, so at the first glance, you can see that both the stems are coping very well just by looking at their leaves. And the most obvious thing that you can see here in one of the stems is that it's actually pushed out a new growth. Remember the eye I was telling you about earlier? Yeah, so that's where the new growth is happening. Okay, on to the second stem. Okay, nothing visible, no visible changes yet. So just stay tuned for more updates about that. Yeah, but when I look at the leaf and the overall appearance of the plant, they seem to be coping very well. This plant here is the one that we grew in Pumice. So just let you look at the substrate. Yeah, so Pumice. Just looking at its general appearance, what do you think, guys? How do you think it's doing? I think it's doing really good. In fact, I'm pleasantly surprised because usually when we transplant plants to a different medium, in this case from soil to pumice, they usually show signs of stress, like the yellowing or browning of leaves. Yeah, but in this case, just look at all the leaves. They seem to be very vibrant and really colorful. It shows that they are actually very happy in this substrate. So highly recommend pumice if let's say you are planning to do semi-hydroponics or go for soilless growth. Yeah, and another thing is about Aglaonemas is if let's say you don't have pumice, you can still use Leica. If you do not have Leica, you can just stick it in water and they'll be alright, as you can see here. And here we have the cutting that we snipped off from the mother plant and stuck it in soil. So looking at the general appearance of the plant, you will notice that it's showing some signs of stress. The most obvious one is the browning of one of its leaves, and you notice that the leaves are a bit more droopy than when we first started. Why is this happening is because when plants have a lot of leaves, they do need roots to actually support the leaves with water and nutrients. In this case, because we kind of did a cutting without any roots and we stuck it in soil, this plant is actually trying to adapt. Yeah, and how is it doing that is by probably sacrificing one leaf. Maybe you might see another leaf being sacrificed. But I'm confident to say that once it has established a proper root system to support the leaves, it will do really well. Because Aglaonemas, they are really hardy plants. All they need is, at the start for this cutting, is to keep the soil moist, give them plenty of bright indirect sunlight to promote growth, and yeah, we'll notice positive changes to this plant. So stay tuned for more updates. Hi everyone, it's been 15 weeks since we did last our cuttings, and here's an update. First of all, I would like to show you the most exciting part, which is the mother plant. Ta-da! Just look at the amount of leaves it has put out since you last saw it. Yeah, as earlier shared in the video, if the plant has very good root system, in this case this mother plant, okay, it will be able to put out a lot of leaves, and it's so evident. Look at the amount of leaves, it's basically flourishing. And one more interesting thing I would like to show you is if you look at this stem here, okay, you'll see that it didn't put out any growth from a new eye. Instead, what it did is it created a new growth shoot right over here from its roots. So it just created a new root system, a new apical bud, and it started putting out leaves from there. Yeah, and so here is the mother plant. Alright, next up we have the one grown in pumice, and as you can see, it is also doing really well. Just look at the amount of leaves it has put out. Probably maybe 2 to 4 leaves, I've kind of lost count. Okay, so this is how it looks from the top. Now let's look at the roots. Okay. So really decent root growth as well. And that's the beauty of Pumice. You get to actually see how the roots of the plants developed. And the best part, no pests. I cannot help myself but keep promoting plant beginners to actually use Pumice. Whether you are a beginner or expert, it's a really easy soil medium to use. Yeah, do consider it if you can get your hands on it. Alright, so this is the one that is being grown in Pumice. And last but not least, we have the cutting that was grown in soil. So as you can see, it's doing fairly okay. If you recall, we started out with 4 medium-sized leaves. It kind of lost 2 due to transplant stress, and has put out another 2 new leaves. Okay, I guess this cutting took a little longer because he had to adapt to a pretty big size pot for its size without roots, and so I'm quite convinced that it was focusing its energy on growing roots first to actually support the leaves that it's going to put out. So as you can see, Aglaonemas are actually really not fussy when it comes to soil media. In fact, if you do not wish to deal with any soil, you can even consider putting them in just water, and they should be doing okay. Yeah, and so here's your 15-week update. Thanks for watching.